Hey, 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 this is Scott. I've been a little slow. I wanted to present the second video that I said I was going to do a couple of weeks ago on the business analytics field. So I've met some people that are interested in entering the field. And so the first video that I went through, I shared some stuff, and we'll look at the highlights in just a second. But the this video, at first I was going to go way too deep, and then I decided, no, I'm just going to cut this one short. I'll just do 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to cover the hard stuff, really, what you should know technically. And this was a question that I got from my friend Ahmad. He's wondering on the mathematics, statistics, what you should know. I'm going to give you my perspective on that in just a second. So this is what we did last time, just to rehash. And if you didn't see that video, you might want to check it out. It's a very high level. It talks about 11 dimensions that you need to know as a business analytics specialist. Sorry. And, it goes through some of the softer skills like communication, eagerness to learn, listen. Anyway, so I won't ponder, but just check that out if you have an interest. And then, so what I want to do here is I want to, and this was the very last minute, I basically went into my library and I started pulling out books. So a few things that I thought you should know. Now, I'm not going to go deep into these, but we'll give you my perspective because some of the stuff is not about learning everything in a book. It's about picking up key concepts, especially as as a business analytics professional versus, let's say, someone that's going to be doing machine learning, um, creating new algorithms or something like that, heavy math or anything. I'm not going to do heavy math. I'm going to do from a very high perspective of what you need to know. But I am going to talk about math and what you need to know from the math and statistics, etc. So, so with that, what I want to do is I want to show you just a few books, and I only have one more slide, so let me go ahead and show you that, and then I'll quit presenting and go back. So if you want to see something specifically on this topic, let me know. I can go in a lot of different directions. I have some ideas, but if there's something specifically you want to see, that would help me determine what I'll do next. All right. So I'm going to stop presenting and I'm going to go back, and you have to look at my ugly face here. So the first thing is I'm going to do a really non-selfish plug because I've spent hundreds of hours actually writing a series of 3 books. The first book is called It's All Analytics, and this is really kind of the foundations. There's a lot of hype in analytics and the field, and so I try to go through and talk about what is statistics versus what is machine learning versus what is AI, what is BI, where all these different things come in to play, and why each one of them is important. So this is kind of a literacy book. The second book, part 2, is this about the design for the organization, the design for the data architecture and infrastructure that you need in your analytics space. And then the third part of it is what analytics tools that you need. I don't talk specifically about any commercial software. I do mention some open source stuff, but there's nothing that there's no plugs in here for commercial software. And then this one just came out. This is part 3, and part 3 is all about applications. So this is ideation. This is what people are doing, and at a maturity level, everything from the novices to the explorers to the practitioners to the leaders to the innovators, and how they're approaching different problems in analytics. So the gist of it is, again, this is the foundation. This is the literacy stuff. This is what you need in the organization to get there. And then this top part is just some ideas of what you can do. All right, so the second part from my opening slide was math and statistics and why. Well, the first thing is, and I'm a statistician, at least that's where I started. So statistics is the basic format for everything, right? You don't do any machine learning, you don't do any sort of data analytics without statistics. People gloss over it, but the whole idea is to create with a small subset and try to figure out what's going to happen in a larger set. And that can even be future, right? Even if you have a population that includes everything today, you're going to predict for tomorrow. So there's always statistics that are involved. It's sampling and all kinds of stuff like that. So a good book would be, especially for the business analytics, would be a book that's written for a someone that's getting a bachelor's of administration in bachelor's of administration, like a BBA, right? So, and then, for example, I taught quantitative business analysis at Baylor University, and so we used, a stats book applied to business. So, business problems that you would encounter and the statistics that go along with it. So that's something that's good to know. By the way, I'm a big believer in you don't have to read page cover to cover in a book, page 1 to nth page. Just pick it up, pick out the important things, and then go through it. I'm going to talk about some important things in different books. All right, so also Bayesian perspective, because Bayesian is becoming more and more popular. I definitely believe in this paradigm. This will be taught more in a classical or frequentist paradigm. This is going to be a different flavor. So this is certainly a must. This is, if you have time, this would add value. Okay. Then the other thing is probability. So this is just a tutoring book on probability, but it's a good book. So the more versed you are, computer scientists, depending on who you're speaking with, and most of this is about speaking the language, right? It's about conversing with people. You may not use it every day, but you need to know enough to have a decent conversation with folks. So probability is something, again, this is not near as important as the basic stat, but if you have time, go here. Calculus. What do you need and what do you do not need from calculus? Well, I wouldn't worry about mechanics. For example, solving equations step by step, how to derive and even mathematics from a different view. If you're going to solve for a theorem or something like that, that's nice to have, but that's not the core of what you need to know. What you need to know is you need to know differential calculus. Why do you study calculus? That's the basic. Why do you study differentiation, rates of change, the determination of maximum, minimum, optimums, right? So the first derivative test, the second derivative test, those are the concepts that you need to know. You do not need to know how to come up with a bunch of derive a bunch of trigonometric functions. That's not important. And then integrals. So area under a curve, a volume space, those things. Now those things come into machine learning. So the concepts are important. The mechanics are not. I hope that's clear. But yeah, again, it's about talking, conversing with someone. And this is just another book. It includes some analytic geometry, but that's less important as well. So let's get into a couple more and we'll call it. But management science. This is one that's really strong. I mean, most BBA programs have some sort of curriculum, some sort of specialty in management science. It's a little bit different flavor than the basic statistics, but it is going to talk about optimization. It's going to be talking about, it will talk about statistics as well. I've become enamored over years, more and more and more, in the management science discipline. Some really good material there, but it's also going to overlap. It's going to overlap with the statistics, and it's going to overlap with this operations research. So operations research, linear programming, trying to determine optimum, especially from linear functions. So you don't have to be a specialist, just a little bit, just know what it basically is, along with the management science and some of the other stuff. And another one that you need to know a little bit about is linear algebra and linear models, right? So this is, matrix manipulation. Again, the very basics, but why this is important is not the mechanics as much as there are certain machine learning algorithms that are intractable. And one of the reasons is they're intractable is that you cannot invert a matrix. So there's an operation inside linear algebra that you can't perform if you have certain data sets, because you can't rotate the data set. You cannot create an inverse of the data set. And some of the algorithms in machine learning require you to be able to do that. So if you can't do it, then it falls apart. You need to understand multicollinearity, right? So as an analytics professional, you need to know what multicollinearity is, and that's the reason for this book. All right, I'm going to stop there. And again, you can question, you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can ask a question on the YouTube feed. Thanks.